Imagine this. You disappear today. You turn off your phone. You leave without warning, and you stop responding. Who would look for you? Who would feel your absence as a real void and not just an insignificant detail? The truth is, most people go through life without leaving a trace. They are like secondary characters in their own story, interchangeable, forgettable. Not because they are not important, but because they never learned to be indispensable. They never understood how to make their absence hurt more than the presence of anyone else. Think about it. There are people you barely met, and yet they still linger in your mind like an unshakable echo. And there are others that you see daily, but if they were to leave tomorrow, you wouldn't even notice. Why does this happen? It's not luck. It's not coincidence. It's presence. It's impact. It's the ability to build a personality that commands respect, desire, and admiration. Today, I'm going to reveal to you 8 Stoic principles that will make you unforgettable. Not only will they help you make a real impact on the lives of others, but they will make your absence felt, make you missed, make them wish to have you close again. But don't get it wrong. This is not just a game of social strategies. It's not a cheap trick to gain attention. It's a complete change in the way you handle yourself in the world. If you're tired of being invisible, if you're ready to make every interaction count, if you want to become such a strong presence that your absence is unbearable, then this video is for you. Let's get started. 1. Become your own source of power. Look around you. Most people live as if they were extensions of others. They feed on external validation, on the approval of others, like emotional parasites, unable to sustain themselves. Their mood depends on a message, a like, a look of approval, or a pat on the back. They live with the constant need for someone to look at them, accept them, confirm them. And that's their mistake. That's the reason they are forgettable. They are like leaves in the wind, weightless, directionless, without real impact. If you want to be someone who leaves a mark on the minds of others, you have to be your own source of power. You can't depend on the energy of others, their opinions, their attention. You have to be the generator of your own value. While others look for something to lean on, you must become your own base, your own center of gravity. Stoicism teaches that true strength comes from within, from a sense of self-sufficiency that does not need to be fed by the outside world. Epictetus put it clearly, "No one is free who is not master of himself." And that's the key here, owning yourself, not giving anyone else control over how you feel, what you think of yourself, or the path you choose to take. Think about the people who really make a difference. They're not begging for attention. They're not chasing anyone. They don't need recognition to know who they are. They are like magnets. People are attracted to them because they radiate an energy that does not depend on anything or anyone. It's confidence without arrogance. It's stability without rigidity. It's the certainty that their value does not fluctuate depending on the presence or absence of others. They are the kind of people who, when they enter a place, do not desperately seek to fit in, because they know that real power is not in being accepted, but in knowing that you don't need it. Now, how does this apply in everyday life? Start by beheading the need for approval. Don't wait for the world to tell you who you are. Define yourself. Define what you want, what moves you, what you are passionate about. Become strong in silence. Let your power not depend on someone else recognizing it. Ask yourself, if you disappeared today, if you stop answering messages, if you step back a bit, who would look for you for who you are and not for what you give? Who would really miss your absence? If the answer is no one or very few, then it's time to change the rules of the game. Start acting from a position of power. You don't need to announce everything you do. You don't need to prove to anyone that you are valuable. The most unforgettable people are those who have such a solid inner world that they don't need external adornments to stand out. Have you noticed how some people can be silent in a conversation, and yet they feel present? It's because they're not desperate to talk, to fit in, to be seen. Their energy speaks for them. They don't seek to be the center of attention, but inevitably, they end up being it. To develop this presence, cultivate emotional independence. Learn to enjoy your own company. Stop over-explaining, justifying every move you make. Don't ask for permission to exist. When you speak, do it with conviction, without the need to be accepted. When you move in the world, do it with the certainty that you don't need to be recognized to know your worth. This is what sets the unforgettable apart from the crowd. Confidence is not begged, it is projected. Attraction is not forced, it is built. And people feel that difference, even if they can't explain it. When your energy comes from within, when you're not desperately seeking someone to validate you, you automatically become more attractive, more memorable. Not because you try, but because you no longer need it. And that's when others start to need you. It is at that moment that you become someone impossible to ignore. Because while others are desperately seeking to be seen, you simply exist with such a natural force that people can't help but feel it. You are a beacon in the middle of the storm. You don't chase anyone, but everyone sees you. And when you leave, they'll notice. 2. Master your emotions. Don't let them master you. Imagine you're a warrior on the battlefield. Around you, chaos reigns. Arrows streak across the sky. Swords clash violently, and the screams of war fill the air. But you're there, in the center of it all, firm, still, unshakable. Not because you don't feel fear, but because you've learned not to let fear control your movements. Now tell me, what do you think inspires more respect? The soldier who panics and attacks without thinking, driven by fear and desperation? Or the warrior who at the most intense moment keeps a steady gaze, observes, waits for the exact moment to move, and strikes with precision? The difference between an ordinary man and an unforgettable man lies in his ability to control his emotions instead of being controlled by them. Forgettable people are reactive. They get upset easily, explode over anything. Let anger, anxiety, fear, or sadness decide for them. They are like puppets of their own instability. And the reality is that no one respects or misses someone who doesn't respect themselves. If you get upset by every comment, if you let others take you out of your center, if you lose your head in an argument, or if you drown in despair when something doesn't go as expected, then you're not a man. You're a child in an adult's body. If you want to be unforgettable, you need to become someone who inspires trust and stability. People don't remember the unstable. They remember those who convey security. And you only achieve this when you have absolute control over yourself. Stoicism tells us something powerful. You can't control the world, but you can control your perception of it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The problem is not in the things that happen to us, but in the opinion we have of them." In other words, emotions are nothing more than interpretations of the mind, and you decide which interpretation you allow. Think of the person who stays calm when everyone else is losing their heads. These are the people that people respect. These are the people that people miss when they're not there. Because in a world full of desperate, insecure, and impulsive people, being someone who projects strength and control makes you a point of reference. It makes you a beacon in the midst of the storm. So, How do you apply this in your life? First, stop reacting like a wild animal. Before replying to a message with anger, before letting anxiety make you doubt yourself, before shouting or getting defensive, ask yourself, does this make me look strong or weak? A strong man doesn't need to prove he is. A strong man thinks before he acts. A strong man understands that the real battle is not outside, but within his own mind. Second, make yourself emotionally inaccessible to those who don't deserve it. Not just anyone should have the power to alter your mental state. If someone can make you angry with a word, if they can manipulate you with a gesture, if you can be easily shaken, you're predictable. And predictable is boring. Predictable is forgettable. On the other hand, when you're a mystery, when people can't read what you're thinking, when you project an unshakable calm, you automatically become more interesting, more intriguing, more unforgettable. Third, use coldness to your advantage. It doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you don't show weakness to just anyone. People admire those who seem to have control, even when they don't. A good poker player doesn't let his face reveal what he has in his cards. Why? Because the one who controls the information controls the game. In life, it's the same. People will be drawn to you when they can't quite figure you out, when they don't know what you're thinking, when your presence conveys something they can't find in anyone else. Security, power, absolute mastery of yourself. Emotions are tools. Either you use them or they use you. Either you master them or you become their slave. The choice is yours. But I assure you, no one misses the weak. No one respects the unstable. No one remembers those who are carried away by every passing emotion. If you want to be unforgettable, start here. 3. Speak with impact. Leave resonating words. People talk too much and say very little. They open their mouths without thinking, filling the air with empty words, and believe that by talking more, they will be heard. But the reality is brutal. No one remembers those who only make noise. On the other hand, those who choose their words carefully, those who know when to speak and when to remain silent, those are the ones who leave a mark. Think about the people you admire, those who have made an impact on you in some way. They are not the ones who shout the loudest. They are not the ones who desperately seek attention. They are the ones who, when they speak, make every word count. Their sentences stay in your mind. Their ideas accompany you even when they are no longer there. That is the difference between an ordinary person and an unforgettable one, the ability to speak with impact. The Stoics understood this perfectly. Seneca said, "Speak only when your words are better than silence." And Marcus Aurelius practiced it with discipline. Instead of filling himself with unnecessary words, he chose the right ones, the necessary ones, those that conveyed power without wasting energy. Because language is not just communication, it is a tool of influence, power, and legacy. So, how can you speak with impact? First, speak less, but say more. Don't over-explain. Don't justify yourself. Don't try to fill silences with weightless words. Every time you speak, do it with intention. Do it because you really have something to contribute, something that moves, that impacts, that leaves a mark. If you can say something in 5 words instead of 10, do it. Brevity is synonymous with strength. A direct message hits harder than one full of detours. Second, use silence to your advantage. People who talk incessantly lose their impact. It's like a background noise that no one notices. But when you are someone who doesn't give away your words, when you speak only when necessary, people start to listen more attentively. Great leaders are not those who shout the loudest. They are those who know when to be quiet and when to drop the sentence that will shake the room. Third, learn to put weight in what you say. Don't speak with doubts. Don't use weak words. I think, maybe I could, I'm not sure, but eliminate that from your vocabulary. Speak with certainty. Instead of, I think we could do this, say, this is what we are going to do. People follow those who project confidence, not those who seem to doubt every word they say. Fourth, use your voice as a weapon. It's not just about what you say, but how you say it. The same sentence can sound powerful or insignificant depending on the tone, the pause, the intention with which you release it. Speak calmly, firmly, without haste. Rush in words conveys anxiety. Slowness conveys control. Fifth, learn the power of the last word. In a discussion, in a debate, in an important conversation, you don't need to be the one who talks the most. You need to be the one who closes with the phrase that stays in everyone's mind. A well-placed comment, a last line with weight, can change the entire dynamics of a conversation. The words that resonate are not the ones that fill the air. They are the ones that pierce the mind. The voice is one of the most powerful tools you have. You can use it to inspire, to mark territory, to leave a mark, or you can waste it on valueless conversations, on gossip, on words that evaporate in the air without anyone remembering them. The choice is yours. But remember this, people don't miss those who just talked for the sake of talking. They miss those who knew what to say and how to say it. 4. Use absence to your advantage. Make them miss you. Have you ever noticed that people value more what they cannot easily have? Scarcity creates desire. Distance generates attraction. Well-managed absence can make someone seek you more than they ever would if you were always available. But most people don't understand this. They believe that to be important, they have to be present all the time. That to be remembered, they have to be in every conversation, every message, every outing. And there they make their biggest mistake. If you're always available, you're never special. If you're always there, you become part of the background noise, something guaranteed, something that is not valued because it never lacks. And what never lacks is never missed. People are programmed to take for granted what they always have at their fingertips. And the worst part is that the more you strive to be noticed, the more invisible you become. It's a brutal paradox. The more you give, the less you're valued. Think about this. Why do some people obsess us and others simply go unnoticed? Because those who obsess us manage their presence and absence as if it were an art. They know when to appear and when to disappear. They are not always accessible, but when they are, they make every moment count. And when they leave a feeling of emptiness that makes you seek them without realizing it. This is where most people go wrong. They confuse being unforgettable with being insistent. They believe that to be important, they have to be everywhere, all the time. No, it's exactly the opposite. The power is in strategic withdrawal. Silence is stronger than words when used at the right time. Distance creates mystery. Absence generates value. It's an infallible psychological trick. When someone suddenly disappears, the human mind feels the need to fill that void. You wonder why they're not there, what they're doing, who they're with. Uncertainty becomes an emotional hook that catches anyone. So, how do you apply this to your life? First, stop being always available. Disappear from time to time. Don't always respond instantly. Don't be the person who always says yes. Don't become predictable, because predictable is boring. People have to feel that your presence is a privilege, not a right. If you're always there, they will never look for you. If you always say yes without thinking, they will never value you. Make people earn your time. Second, when you're present, make it count. It's no use disappearing if, when you come back, you're just like everyone else. Every time you speak, present yourself, interact, leave an impression. Make people feel that being with you is different. If every interaction with you is unique, intense, full of energy and meaning, people will notice when you're not there. But if your presence is weak, if you're someone who doesn't bring anything special, no one will miss you when you leave. Third, use scarcity to generate interest. Look at how luxury products work. They're not everywhere. They're not accessible to just anyone. And that's precisely what makes them valuable. Do the same with your time, your attention, your presence. People must feel that having you around is an opportunity, not something taken for granted. You don't have to be cold or distant. You just have to manage your energy well. Learn to measure how much you give and to whom you give it. Fourth, learn to read the perfect moment to withdraw. Don't wait for people to get tired of you to move away. Learn to leave at the highest point. The best artists, the best actors, the best leaders know when to withdraw before becoming repetitive. Don't stay so long that people get used to you and you lose your impact. If you feel that the energy of a conversation, a relationship, or a situation is dropping, step aside before it's too late. Fifth, develop self-control to not need others' validation. Many people don't know how to disappear because they're afraid of being forgotten. But here's the key. You don't disappear to be sought after. You disappear because you understand that your value doesn't depend on the constant attention of others. It's an act of power, not weakness. You don't need to beg anyone to remember you. If you did things right, if you managed your presence intelligently, your absence will speak for itself. If you want to be unforgettable, learn to disappear at the right time. Leave room for them to look for you. Leave silence for your absence to speak for itself. If you do it right, when you leave, they will feel it. And when you come back, they will appreciate it. Absence is one of the most powerful tools you can use. If you know how to play with it, you can control the perception others have of you. You can make them miss you without even asking for it. Because what is not seen, what is not had, what is not known, when it will return, always generates more desire than what is available at all times. So stop being everywhere. Learn to leave at the right time. Make people get used to your presence, and then take it away. Because if you did it right, when you're not there, they'll look for you. 5. Turn every moment into an unforgettable experience. There are people who, even if we spend years with them, never leave us anything memorable. And there are others who, in just a few minutes, mark us forever. The difference lies in the intensity with which they live each moment. Many people go through life on autopilot. Empty conversations, sparkless interactions, entire days that fade away without leaving a trace. They are irrelevant because they never did anything worth remembering. It's not that they are bad people, it's just that they simply don't make an impact. They move through the world like shadows, without energy, without presence, without that force that makes others want to remember their existence. If you want to be unforgettable, every moment you share with someone has to be an experience. Something that shakes, something that breaks the monotony, something that leaves an impression that is not easily erased. If when you leave, the other person feels that everything remains the same, then you lost the opportunity to make a difference. Think of someone who really marked you. It wasn't someone boring. It wasn't someone who was just there without doing anything special. It was someone who knew how to create an atmosphere, an energy, a moment that you can't forget. Maybe it was someone who made you laugh like never before. Someone who made you see life from another perspective. Someone who challenged you, who inspired you, who made you feel something out of the ordinary. Now tell me, what are you doing to be that person for someone else? If your conversations are the same as always, if your energy is the same as everyone else's, if you don't dare to do or say something different, how do you expect someone to remember you? It's not about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about raising the intensity of what you do. Make every interaction with you feel different. How can you do this? First, stop acting like a spectator of your own life. There are people who are physically present but mentally absent. If you are with someone, get involved 100%. Don't be looking at your phone. Don't be thinking about something else. Make the other person feel that they are experiencing something different than what they experience with anyone else. People remember those who make them feel alive, those who take them out of the boredom of everyday life. Second, master the art of storytelling. People don't remember data, but they do remember emotions. Don't just talk for the sake of talking. Tell things that arouse interest, that generate impact, that make the other person feel something real. It doesn't matter if it's a funny, inspiring, or challenging story. The important thing is that it takes the person listening to you out of the mental monotony in which they live. Third, play with the unexpected. Surprise is one of the most powerful tools to be etched in someone's mind. Don't be predictable. Change the pace. Challenge expectations. Make every interaction with you have something that others can't replicate. Don't be the typical person who goes with the flow, who always says what everyone expects to hear, who always does the same thing. Be someone who leaves others thinking, who provokes intense emotions, who can't be easily categorized. People forget what you told them, but they never forget how you made them feel. And if you can make every moment with you an experience, then you're going to be someone who never gets erased from the memory of others. If this sounds difficult to you, if you think you don't have what it takes to do it, ask yourself this: what would you do if you knew that every interaction with someone could be the last? If you knew that there is no second chance to be remembered, would you really act as you do now? 6. Live with purpose and leave a mark. There are two types of people in this world: those who exist and those who leave a mark. The former are there, they breathe, they take up space, they follow the rhythm of others without questioning anything. They are passengers in their own life, watching how the days pass without leaving anything behind. The latter, on the other hand, walk with intention. It shows in their way of speaking, moving, making decisions. They are not here just to pass the time. They are here to make their presence matter. If you want to be unforgettable, you need a purpose. It's not about finding a sacred mission or being an enlightened one who has everything figured out. It's about living with intention, moving with the certainty that every action, every decision, every word you utter carries weight. The people who leave a mark are not the loudest. They are the ones with a clear direction. Think of someone who has made a mark on your life. It could have been a mentor, a friend, a stranger with whom you exchanged few words, but who left you thinking for days. It wasn't someone random. It was someone who, at that moment, projected a different energy. Someone who had a way of being in the world that was not accidental. That is what made them unforgettable. If you walk aimlessly, If you live simply reacting to what happens, you will never be someone others remember. But when you have something that drives you, whether it's a vision, a goal, a standard of your own, you automatically become different. Not because you try to be, but because people notice when someone knows what they want. So, how do you live with purpose? First, choose a standard for yourself. Don't wait for the world to tell you what to do or how to be. Define your own values and respect them brutally. A man who does not betray his principles commands respect, and respect is etched in memory. Second, let your actions speak louder than your words. Don't explain who you are. Don't try to convince anyone. Live it. When someone observes you, it should be clear what you represent. Your way of acting should speak for itself. Third, leave something in every person who crosses your path. It doesn't have to be something big. It can be an idea, an attitude, a feeling. The important thing is that after meeting you, they are not the same. Living with purpose is not just something nice to say. It's the difference between being another name that gets lost in the crowd or being someone who, even in absence, remains present in the minds of others. 7. Create a strong bond with the right communication. No matter how strong you are, how attractive, or how smart, if you don't know how to communicate, you are invisible. People think communication is just talking, but it's much more than that. It's knowing how to read body language, understanding tone, feeling the other person's energy, and responding accurately. There are people who can say very little and yet create an instant connection. Others talk non-stop, but their words mean nothing. You have to learn the difference. The mistake many make is that they believe being unforgettable is about talking more, being more outgoing, telling more stories. But the truth is that truly memorable people are those who know how to connect on a deeper level. It's not about filling the air with words, but about saying what really sticks in the other person's mind. So how can you speak in a way that leaves a mark? First, learn to really listen. Most people don't listen, they just wait their turn to speak. When you really listen, the other person notices, and that creates an instant bond. If someone feels that you really paid attention to them, that you understood them, that you were able to read beyond their words, they will be drawn to you in a way they can't even explain. Second, adjust your tone, your pace, your energy according to the situation. Don't talk the same way to everyone. Observe, analyze, figure out what the other person needs at that moment and give it to them. If the other person is excited, match their energy. If they are serious, slow down and convey depth. People remember those who know how to adapt without losing authenticity. Third, learn to ask questions that evoke emotions. Most people talk about superficial things, but truly memorable people ask questions that make an impact, make the other person think, reflect, feel. People remember those who made them see something they hadn't seen before. When you manage to connect with someone on a deep level, it doesn't matter how much time passes. They will always remember the way you made them feel. 8. Regulate your emotions and enhance your appeal. Real appeal has nothing to do with physical appearance. You can be the most handsome person in the room, but if your energy is erratic, if you let yourself be carried away by every impulse, if you do not convey self-control, you will be forgettable. On the other hand, there are people who, without being physically extraordinary, have a magnetism impossible to ignore. And that magnetism does not come from their face or their clothes, it comes from the mastery they have over themselves. Attraction is not a simple trick of biology. It's a combination of confidence, mystery, and emotional stability. People who know how to regulate their emotions generate a sense of security, power, real presence. While others explode over anything, they maintain control. While others desperately seek validation, they project independence. And that difference is what makes them stand out. Look around you. Most people let themselves be dragged by their emotions as if they were leaves in the wind. They are volatile, predictable, manipulable. If someone ignores them, they despair. If someone throws a criticism at them, they crumble. If something does not go as expected, they lose their composure. That behavior is synonymous with weakness, and weakness is never attractive. If you want to be unforgettable, you have to be emotionally imperturbable. It doesn't mean you don't feel anything. It means you decide how and when to react. So, how is this achieved? First, learn to handle tension. Real attraction is built on the mastery of energy. In an intense conversation, in a challenging moment, in a high-impact situation, the one who keeps calm dominates the interaction. If you can't stand silence without getting uncomfortable, if you rush to fill every empty space with unnecessary words, you're losing power. Learn to enjoy tension, to control the rhythm, to make others feel your presence without having to strive. Second, don't react as others expect. If someone provokes you, don't take the bait. If someone tries to manipulate you with emotions, don't give them control. When you act from calm, you project a confidence that few people have. And that confidence is extremely attractive. Third, make your energy a point of reference. People are attracted to those who project stability. If every time someone is with you, they feel calm, motivated, or inspired, they will constantly seek you. But if you are unstable, if one day you are one thing and the next another, you will become disposable. True attractiveness is not something that is faked. It is something that is built from within. When you learn to regulate your emotions, your energy becomes magnetic. And when you leave, people notice it because they feel the difference immediately.
Thank you for staying until the end of the video. If you watched the whole thing, comment "I am Stoic" as our secret signal to know that you're a true student of Stoicism. Don't forget to subscribe and give the video a like if you enjoyed it. See you in the next video, and remember, keep cultivating your Stoic mind.